Hey guys, welcome to workout number 2 of this core and mobility series. We're gonna start things off with an oldie but a goldie with the cat and cow to get the spine warmed up. So let's go ahead and get started on hands and knees. And we're gonna start by rounding the back, tuck the chin and exhale, and then reverse it by inhaling, arching the back and looking up. So let's go ahead and get started and let's begin. We're trying to get as much range of motion out of the spine as you can as a quick little warm up. Going to start with some upper body mobility first, with some shoulder circles. Okay, so from this position, take a step back with your left foot and line it up right behind your right leg. And then we're gonna come to a side kneeling position so you can rotate the right foot. And from here, we're gonna be making very large circles with that left arm. So come all the way, we're like a backstroke in swimming. Reach all the way overhead and reach down toward the floor to stretch the side of the body and come all the way around. Make the shoulders as large as possible here. So we're stretching the whole side of the body. You have your eyes follow the arm if you'd like, but just really feel that side body stretching. And we're just gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. So let's come back to hands and knees and we take the right foot back directly behind the left leg. Turn the foot out if you need. I'll be back to the camera, but you guys gonna know the drill. And then we're gonna do a big backstroke all the way around, moving the circles all in one direction. And let's go ahead. Make the circles as large as you can. Okay, we're gonna move into our first core exercise with an elbow push-up plus. So we're gonna bring ourselves down into a regular plank position. Have your palms face the floor and your forearms separate from one another. We're gonna come up into a plank position, keep everything in the body still except for the shoulder blades, which are gonna come together and up and apart. Let's go ahead. So bring the shoulders together, drop the chest toward the floor, and then push your chest away from the floor. Get as much height on the armpits as you can. This is where the work is. And then bring the chest down is the rest. So let's go ahead and work through it. Get as round in the upper back as you can, trying to push the floor away and shoulders together. If you do have troubles with this one, regular plank, as you can see, is our regression. And just hold, keep the body still. Okay, so we're gonna make our way into a sprinter stretch. So let's take a push-up position. We'll take the left foot between the hands here. And our regression for today is knee on the floor. And from here, we're gonna shift the hips forward and down, stretching the back leg hip flexor, and then lift back, stretching the hamstring. Keep both legs straight for this one. And really stretch out the hamstring and then the hip flexor. Core and mobility make a really nice partnership, as you guys can see. It's the one thing that you can train lots of. You can do it after your normal training session and not worry about too much volume. So they go together really nicely. Awesome stuff. So let's stay in a similar position here. We're gonna do a core exercise called a kneeling windmill. So take a kneeling position, make sure your back knee is directly below the hip. Front foot is directly below the front knee. I'm gonna bring the hands up by the head, and from here, I'm gonna twist to the left, and then try to bring the right elbow down to the floor and up. So let's go ahead. If you can't reach the floor, just go as low as you can and then come back up. That's totally fine. But try to get the elbow down to the floor in front of the foot. You'll feel the left side obliques, low back working, and then your left groin stretching. Is a really good core exercise and mobility at the same time. Really effective here. Make sure the body faces the left as you go down. And one more. We're gonna do it all on the other side. All right, so let's bring ourselves back to the push-up position, and we'll bring the right leg forward this time in between the hands. And again, our regression for this one is just to have the back knee on the floor. We're doing our sprinter stretch, so we're gonna shift forward and drop the hip down. So we're stretching the back leg hip flexor, and then we're gonna stretch the hamstring. So let's go ahead, shift forward, drop the back leg, stretch this left hip flexor, and then come on up and stretch the hamstring. Keep both legs straight on this one in the hamstring stretch, so the back leg is staying straight the whole time. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that kneeling position again. So the right leg is forward. We're gonna bring the hands up by the head, and the left elbow is now coming down to the floor. So we're gonna turn to the right, bring the left elbow to the floor as low as you can, and try to have the elbow go in front of the feet if possible. And if not, just go as low as you can. So here we go, twist and down and back up. We're gonna feel the lower back, obliques and groin working and stretching. You got this, guys. One more. Okay. We're gonna do some no hands hip openers. So have a seat with the hips open to 90 degrees and the knees open to 90 degrees. Sit up tall with the chest, and we're gonna swivel the hips side to side, but keep the chest nice and upright. So we're opening up through the hips. Sit as upright as you can. And if you find yourself crawling forward on your bum, it just means you're not putting your glute back to the same spot you started. So try to push this hip back so it sits back down in the same spot it started from. Or you just reduce the range of motion. That helps as well. After this, we've got a really tough one with prone hyperextensions. We have two versions of it, an advanced and a basic version. So for the basic version, we'll just be lying on the stomach, lifting the legs. And for the advanced version, we're gonna have the hands under the body. I'll give most of the coaching for the advanced version, but you can see our regressions on the screen coming up. All right, here we go. So lie down on the stomach for our advanced version. For the basic version, we're just gonna have the hands under the head and lift the feet. For advanced version, get the hands underneath your hips. So arms are gonna be straight and underneath the hips. And then from here, we're gonna be keeping the legs together and lifting the whole body off the floor using the lower back. So here we go. Get the legs as high as you can. Use the arms on the floor and feel the lower back working. If you're doing the basic version, push the feet up to the ceiling as hard as you can. Move slow and controlled. You'll feel this in the arms as well. Almost there. A couple more. Ooh. Getting tired now. All right. So from this position, we're just gonna sit right back into a child's pose. So have a seat with your bum down on your heels. Bring the arms long out in front. And we're gonna start by walking the hands to the right hand side and take the left hand, put it on top of the right and sink the hips back to stretch the left side of the body. So the left lat and side of the body is stretching. You can, every time you take a breath in, breathe air into the left side of the body and feel the left side stretch all the way down. Nice little recovery after that lower back work. The lower back is definitely part of the core. One standard we look for in our members and clients here is being able to hold the body out. So fix your feet to something. And that's time. We're gonna walk the hands all the way to the right hand side now. So, sorry, to the left hand side walk. And then put your right hand on top of your left and sink the hips back to stretch the right side of the body. And let's stretch. Feel the right side of the body stretching. So as I was saying, if you imagine hooking your heels under something and have your waist and up hanging off the edge of a box or the bed or something like that, being able to hold yourself straight for 1.5 minutes is very good lower back strength that's gonna generally help prevent most lower back pain during exercise. Something we want to aim for before we start doing some more advanced low back exercises like good mornings and deadlifting. You want to make sure you've got that strength. All right, we're gonna go right back to half hollow body from the previous workout. So we're gonna lie down with the feet on the floor and thighs together, palms face up. We're gonna lift the shoulder blades up off the ground so that the lower back is completely flush. And if it feels good to you, you can lift your feet. So here we go, lift the shoulders nice and high, and if it feels okay, lift your feet, but only lift them a little bit. If you bring your knees in, that actually makes the movement easier than just keeping your feet on the floor. So let's hover just a touch. Make sure there's no space under the lower back here. There should be no space whatsoever. It's called a half hollow body. In the full hollow body with the arms overhead, that is a basic position for a lot of gymnastic movements. It's trained a lot. Let's hold the lower back nice and flat. Just 10 seconds left, guys. Hold on. We got it. All right, that's time. So we're gonna do a figure 4 stretch with some pelvic tilting. So let's take the left foot and cross it over top of the right knee. And then we're gonna reach between the legs and either grab the shin or the hamstring of the opposing leg to stretch the left glute. So let's go ahead and start there. You can lay the head on the floor. Once we're here, we're gonna try and tilt the pelvis so your lower back comes off the floor and create a ton of space, and that's gonna really increase the stretch on the left glute. And then we'll round the back, press the lower back into the floor to reduce it. And just keep doing that. So arch the back, press the tailbone into the floor, lift the lower back, and feel the stretch. And then we can come back off of it, just going back and forth. As you arch the back, you can pull the knee into the chest to really increase that stretch. It's also training the core just a little bit to get the feeling of the pelvis and having control over it. Okay, that's time. So let's go ahead and switch sides. So we're gonna put the feet flat. Let's get the right foot hooked over top of the left knee. And we can reach under and either grab the hamstring if you're less flexible, or the shin if you're more flexible. And from here, we're gonna arch the back, lift the lower back off the floor, and then round. So let's go ahead and begin. Let's arch the back, press the tailbone into the floor, create a lot of space under the lower back, really intensify that stretch, and then round. So when you are doing this glute stretch in the future, and you wanna get the most out of it, try to keep the back in that neutral spine position with that little bit of an arch, and then pull in. That'll make sure that the stretch is going into the glute and not so much into the lower back. Not that the lower back is wrong, it's just usually you're trying to get the glute with this stretch. Okay, so we're going into a reverse crunch. So our beginner's version and regression of this is to keep the knees bent, arms on the floor, and just roll one vertebra up at a time. Our advanced version is to have the legs straight and try to lift the feet straight up to the ceiling, keeping them stacked over the hips as best as you can, and lowering slowly. So let's go ahead and begin. So lift and lower slow. Try to keep your feet stacked over your hips as much as you can. You feel this in the abs and the triceps. It's our second last core exercise. Got one more after this, the hardest one of the bunch. Core's burning. One more. All right, so we got some T-spine openers, so let's lie down on the left side. And then take your right knee bent and place it on the floor. From here, we're gonna open up, like opening a book, the right arm to reach back as far as you can without lifting this right knee very much off the floor, and then close it back up. So we're stretching the thoracic spine. So open up and reach, reach, reach. Feel the spine stretching, and then back in. Feel the shoulders opening and the spine twisting. And we do the same thing on the other side after this. Then we have our final, that's time. After that, we have our final core exercise. So let's go ahead and lie down on the right side. And then we're gonna take the left leg bent and on the floor. And this time we're opening up to the left and stretching that left shoulder and spine. So here we go, open up to the left and back down. Try not to lift the knee too much, a little bit's okay, but try not to come way up here. You wanna twist the spine as much as possible by keeping the knee close to the floor. It's gonna prevent your pelvis from rolling, which makes sure the motion is coming from the spine and not from the pelvis rotating. Just isolating the upper part of the spine here. Last one here. Awesome, okay, we have the hardest one. So we got our L-sit leg raises, so have a seat with the legs out in front, toes pointed and long. So our hard version is to lift both legs at the same time, and our easier version is to lift one at a time. The goal here is to lean forward as much as possible and not lean back when you lift. So here we go, let's begin. Lift the legs one or two at a time, and to make it harder, walk your feet or your hands forward. So lift and hold, and try not to lean back as you lift. It's better to be leaned forward more and lift the feet less than to lean backward and lift the feet higher. You should lean forward enough that you can just barely get the feet off the floor. 10 seconds, let's go. Should be burning now. All right, and we're gonna stretch what we just worked with the hero pose. So come onto the knees, and we're gonna try and sit the bum right down between the heels. If you do find this one difficult, this alone might be the stretch. But for those who are more flexible, we're gonna lean back as far as you can, ideally lying the back all the way down to the floor if you're able to. It's very common for people to feel this one in the lower back. If you do feel that, try to tuck the pelvis under and squeeze the bum. And that way the stretch will be on the front of the thighs and not so much on the lower back. But we're hanging out here for our final stretch until we say farewell until the next one. Awesome stuff, guys. Great work today, guys. 2 down, 4 to go. We will be doing continuing series like this for the foreseeable future on the channel, one of our days a week. Right now we're doing it on Thursdays. So let us know in the comments below what type of series you would like to see, what areas you want to focus on, what you want to see from the channel. We want to help you guys get your mobility up, get your fitness up. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you guys in the next one.